Hello guys, welcome back to another video, and in this one we will see how to create an interactive book using Jupyter Book. And this video is the first one of a series of at least 3 videos. And in the first video, what we're gonna see is how to create the book, and I will give you some motivation and introduction about like Jupyter Book. In the second video, we'll see how to create the content, so what can be added inside the book, so to add code or to add like plots, equations and references inside the book, which is basically work very well with like LaTeX, or to add like also like very rich visualization, and with like possibility to interact with the visualization. And in the third video, what we're gonna see is how to publish your book online. So since you know how to like create your book or to add content, now you want to know how to like make sure that once your book is built and you are happy with the content, or we can share this on the web. And this will involve GitHub page and GitHub workflow. So now let me give you like some context on Jupyter Book. So the traditional documentation and book have the following problems. So most of the time the content is static by definition. So you cannot like when you turn the page, you cannot like have like possibility to interact with the book. Also, most of the time, once the book is published or the documentation is published, it's not easy to update. So it's kind of like if you have like written some chapter about like a solution like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it's most likely that if we read it today, there's like change or things are broken. So yeah, that's one of the problems. And the other one is once you want to write a book, you want to make sure that it's quite easy, like to have collaborators and to share your book, and make sure that the way of writing between each other is quite easy. And the current way of writing books is not that easy, especially if when you work with like open source book. And the last thing is we mentioned that we want to be able like to interact with the book, and one interaction that is pretty useful when you want to understand things is being able to interact with data. So basically we want to interact with plots to make sure that the understanding or either the reader or the student is high once it comes to like the in front of the content. So in normal book, it is not possible to interact with. You can have like pretty plots, but you cannot interact with them. So that's one of the problem of traditional documentation in book. And that's where Jupyter Book comes. In Jupyter Book, you can have like executable content, so you can like try the code yourself, which is quite nice, and you can directly run in the browser and see the results. And by design, the book is quite nice designed. The UI and the layout is very well made, and you can also change some CSS property and add your own style to like fit your needs. So also that's quite nice. And the last things is like once you are happy with the results, you can easily publish your book online with like simple command line, and have like a dedicated workflow to once you add content or update content regularly, to have like this published automatically in GitHub page, which is the most standard way to host your Jupyter Book. And basically what you need to have to create content inside Jupyter Book is either Markdown or Jupyter Book. So use Markdown and Jupyter Book, and then those will be converted to HTML, and you will be able to either like interact with the data or interact with the code or the plot. And this is like directly taken in like taken care by the Jupyter Book like library. You do not have like to like do anything. Just write your content in Markdown, or just write your content in a notebook and let the rest like be be done by Jupyter Book. And it's pretty useful for most of the use case that are linked to like either code, equation, mathematical, and like if you wanna, for example, like teach something on that like have like code, equation, and theory inside it, that you wanna be able to explain the foundation. So for lecture, for research paper, and report, it's very nice because everyone can have access to it, can interact with it, and it will have like the structure of a normal book, and it will be very well made, and either the student or the reader will be able to grasp more information than in a regular book, since it can like directly play with the code and play with the visualization and run the cells directly on the browser. So that's very useful in the let's say in the field of like code, data science, and anything that is related to like theory in general. And to get started with Jupyter Book, what you need to do is pretty simple. You need to install the Jupyter Book package using pip install Jupyter Book. The second step is to create the book. You can either write Jupyter Book create my notebook, or GB for it's the abbreviation of the command line. This will create a template book with some Markdown file and YAML configuration inside it. And once, for example, you are happy with your content, what you do is in the third step, you build your book using Jupyter Book. You build the name of the directory that you just created, and that's it. This will create inside the directory called build, and all the HTML will be present inside it, and you will be able to see your book by opening the index.html inside a web browser, basically, which is straightforward. And there is also advanced features. So I mentioned that you can write content using either Markdown or Notebook, but you can also write it using MYST Markdown, which is like a sort of like a more let's say developed and rich Markdown format, where you can like add like specific cells and nice layout just by writing like plain text instead of having to write HTML, basically. So that's pretty nice. The other thing is you can, as I mentioned, have like interactivity in your book using IPy widgets. So basically you can have like a plot that change basically with a slider that change the value, and see make the reader or the student interact with the slider and see depending of the value that was chosen, or the plot is doing. And the third one is the fact that you can have like multiple kernel for the same book. So for example, if you want to write a book on R, on Python, on Julia, on Matplotlib, or Scala, the same things will be, all the steps that we mentioned will be the same. So you can have your notebook only on Scala, and have the Markdown also only on Scala, and you just need to make sure that in your virtual environment there is like a kernel that is either using R, Scala, or Python, and the rest will be like the same. The experience between languages is like seamless, so that's really nice for making like different version of, for example, the same book in different languages, or doing like specific book on for example on R. For like, I know that R is used more for like statistics, and Python more for deep learning stuffs, and UDR and Scala more for like multiprocessing and GPU stuff. So yeah, that's basically each language are like is on like a main let's say field, and you can build this using like different languages. So that's quite nice. So now let's see like real world example. So we'll go to the Jupyter Book website. So that's the Jupyter Book website, and in the second video we will like we'll not go into like too much into the documentation. I really like advise you like to check, because it's really well written. And in the second video I will like give you like some info to like add content, and which type of content you can add, and or to make sure that everything is going fine in like the different section, and or to order the section of the book. And we will also see in the third video how to build and publish your book. The building we'll see like a simple way of building the book now in a couple of minutes. But in the third video, we'll see like a workflow to build and publish your book directly using like Git workflow and GitHub page. And now let's see real example of nice book. So let's check this one, which is quite nice. Yeah, the UI, the guy that made the book changed the UI, so the book look like different than the normal book, but it's quite nice. Quite nice. Like, so maybe let's check like this one. Yeah, as you can see, you can like code. You can have like copy the clipboard, which is quite nice. You can have like LaTeX equations. You can have like code cells to like show. You can have like nice plots, which is basically the result of those, probably. Yeah, of these cells. And that's very nice. I think it's really well made. Maybe let's check like another one, this one. Yeah, the UI also a bit changed, and as you can see, you can like multiple chapters, and inside those chapters you can have different sections. Yeah, that's quite nice, very nice. You can have like directly click on those. It's basically like data frame tables. Yeah, very nice. And basically this is written like either in Markdown or in a notebook. You can add like nice images inside using Markdown notation. And yeah, that's pretty nice. What you can do also is directly look at the source code. So most of the time it's linked to it, so you can see it's like made. This is quite nice also. And you can like change to like in dark mode. Most of the time, like any like coder, I do not like the light mode, prefer the dark one. And yeah, that's basically the structure of the book. You have like the section on the left with like all the chapters, and in the center you have like the content, and you can have like a small table that give you a summarize of the full chapter, like what are the sections. So that is also quite nice for jumping to sections, and this is done automatically by Jupyter Book. So you do not have to code anything, just basically in this case this was created using a notebook, so we can download it or in PDF or in directly the source file. And yeah, you can save it like this. Pretty straightforward. Maybe I wanted to show you like some interactivity. So let's see the gallery. Maybe we'll have more chance to. Let's check this one. Yeah, quite nice too, but like ODE. Okay. And yeah, one thing that you can directly add is this like binder link. As I mentioned, you can like directly execute the code using binder, which will execute this notebook. So if we click inside, we'll be going into a session that will like give us a session that represent the actual session that we were on about the notebook. So it takes a little bit of time for binder to make sure that everything is working correctly. But yeah, you see the point, so you can, which is nice. You can directly interact with the code. We'll pass this, which maybe show this in the second video. Second one, and so yeah, that's it. You can go there. Most of the time those books are quite nice. There's like many books on different. Most of the time it's about like either statistics, data science, or let's say physics. Also, there's some books on physics, and it's quite nice. There's also like a book that present like library, coding library, so to some kind of documentation, as we mentioned earlier, and it's pretty well made in the sense of you can have like your documentation and snippets of code that you can directly interact with it, because in like simple documentation it's very static, and you can change basically the experience of the user. So it's a great idea, like to have your documentation made in Jupyter Book. So now what we're gonna do is basically, since this is we good, we see like we saw like all a Jupyter Book is and what are basically the content inside it. We'll now create our own book. So let's go to VS Code now. And what we're gonna see is how to create one, basically. So before this video I made, Python environment for creating this book. In my case, it's called I think Jupyter Book. I think it's, yeah. And inside it, to start, you install your environment with all the packages that you want to use for your Jupyter Book. So for example, if you want to use PyTorch, or you want to use like scikit-learn, XGBoost for presenting something specific about like models and making a course, or like on machine learning, you will need to, inside your own environment, install those packages first to make sure that the once the Jupyter Book build, you can like directly execute all the code cells directly. There is a workaround for those that do not want to install all the packages. You can run your Jupyter Notebook inside another packages and the environment, sorry, and then with the already computed, compiled Jupyter, you can directly add this, and it will like put this into cache, and you will be able to see the computed version of the notebook. But this we'll see in the second video. So the packages like this, Jupyter Book. In my case, I already have everything, so it will give me some messages about the thing that everything is already satisfied and do not need to install anything. So yeah, that's it. And now there is two command to basically to know. Most common one is to create the book first. So Jupyter Book create, followed by the name. So let's call it like data science, for example. So data science will be created. As you can see, it's created now. It's basically some YAML configuration for configuration about the book, and then there is like for the sections, or create like the table of contents, and then there is the actual content either in Markdown or in notebook format. As I mentioned, there is the logo, your website, the Jupyter Notebook, and you can add like references to cite papers inside your Jupyter Book. And as I mentioned, you can have your requirement.txt that will basically list all the packages and library that you need to compute the book the right way. And now what we are going to do is basically do the third step that we mentioned earlier, is about building the book. So now to build the book, so what we do is we tap Jupyter Book, build, followed by the name of the book. And this will build the book associated to the configuration that is present inside the template, and associated to the content that is already there. And what it will do basically is inside the data science directory, it will create this build, and in this build directory there's like all the HTML that we need to render our website. And now what we're gonna see is the results. So we'll open the index and show you now. And that's basically the index of the website. As you can see, there is like all the content that was written in Markdown is displayed like so. So like this simple Markdown note and simple this one, which is like the MYST that I talked about, which is like using some YAML configuration at the top of the document and using those like special call out and magic cells to create like nice layout and specific like element inside the book. And you can also have like the notebook, and it's directly rendered correctly with the code cells and so on. And if we come back to the website, as you can see, that this is well made with everything inside, and even with the actual results with the cell code. So that's quite nice. And this is made automatically. As I mentioned, the content, the table of content is made automatically for each chapters, and you can have like the table of content for the whole book made automatically based on the configuration inside the YAML. And those files will be like we'll discuss those files in the second video. And as I mentioned, we can download either in PDF or in the actual source format. So in case it was built using Markdown, we can download this in Markdown. If it was created using Notebook, we'll be able to download the source book of this. And this is basically the source. What we do is we just save it, and we are basically good to go. So yeah, that's it for the first part of this series, this video. I hope it was like useful. And now basically if you need to have like more details, it will be in the second video. And I will let you with two videos about like Markdown and how to create a Jupyter notebook with Markdown. And I will see you in the next one, guys, and make sure to like and subscribe if you find this useful. See you in the next one.